Well, welcome back. I have a great panel. As you know, my name, I forgot to introduce myself. I was so interested in this case already, Tennessee versus Sean Foley. I'm Linda Kenny Bodden, and I have great guests today. I have Katie Smith with me, Mike Korobonics, and Eklund Mercy. So I'm going to first throw a question out to Eklund, who's in Georgia. She's not with me in the studio. Eklund, if the defendant is recording this for 22 minutes and 47 seconds, but he's been drinking all night with the person he killed, doesn't that seem to indicate a little bit of premeditation?
No, I think that what it kind of indicates is just, I don't think he believed what his girlfriend was telling him until it actually happened. Well, if I was defense counsel, I would be like, hey, we're outside, we're talking on the porch, and he starts saying things that are indicative of actually molesting his girlfriend. So I think that if the defense kind of really really walk the jury through what actually happened in that conversation. And then remember that a night of drinking for me, is definitely different from a night of drinking for other people. So, that could have just been a random Tuesday or Wednesday. So we don't know what actually happened.
So Mike Korobonics, you are a defense attorney for a long time. You and I have known each other in federal court. You were a prosecutor before that. He comes to the party, and I call it party loosely because only like 4 people, with a gun, 11 shots. It has 11 shots. He shoots 9. He hits the victim, Jimmy Shelton, who's 44, in the chest 2 times, in the neck, and on the side. Does that indicate to you that there's premeditation coming with an 11-shot gun?
Well, I think it does. I think it's a very strong point for the prosecution. And what's really even a stronger point is, as you said, we've been doing this a long time. And it's very rare when you have this kind of explosive atmosphere that there's not some alcohol or some sort of drugs involved that causes just the whole lack of restraint. And I think anybody, when they're drinking with a gun, nothing good's ever going to come
happen. So Katie Smith, okay, let's just set the stage here. We have Dawn, who is the mother of Miranda Goddard, right? Miranda Goddard is actually the girlfriend of Sean Foley, the person on trial right now. Dawn is the fiance of the victim, Jimmy Shelton, okay?
Right.
So we have a lot of relationships here. What the prosecutor said in the opening is that Miranda was trying to negotiate because she had been an exotic dancer and she had used her body a lot to get things, to get a car from Jimmy Shelton, and that the reason why they were doing this, they sent Sean Foley inside, she knew that Sean would get upset about that, and that according to then Sean, he comes out, he sees Miranda pulling up her pants, and then all of a sudden Jimmy Shelton charges him and he shoots him. Comment? Think of it as a jury. What are you thinking?
I think it makes more sense that the boyfriend and the defendant here would get angry and shoot out of anger and jealousy, then it would make sense that the victim would have charged him. It seems to me that he was furious about what was happening. He saw his girlfriend bargaining her body for some sort of benefit, and he flipped out.
Well, that could be. There's a lot going on here. The 911 calls are heartbreaking when you hear the fiancé, Dawn, saying, breathe, breathe, and everyone's crying. We have to take a quick break. Come back with us in Tennessee versus Sean Foley. While we're changing witnesses, let's discuss really quickly. I'd like to throw first to Katie Smith. Hi, Katie.
Hi.
How are you? Okay, so the defendant, Sean Foley, begins to take his iPhone before he shoots and narrate what he's seeing, okay? Does that tell you he's doing it for a purpose?
Sure does. It's not a good look for self-defense. I mean, self-defense is something presumably that happens spontaneously. He claims that this guy charged him and reached for his weapon. If you're expecting that, you don't take out your phone and start recording. It doesn't make any sense.
Well, I see we have a new witness on the stand. Let's go and listen to her. The last witness was Deputy Craig Flanagan. He told us that he secured the scene, that he had tape all the way around the house to preserve the shell casings that he saw on the porch, along with the dead body of Jimmy Shelton, who had been shot 4 times. But let's listen to this witness. Okay, while they're at sidebar, in this actually very fast-moving, very poignant trial, I'd like to bring Eklund Mercy, who's sitting in Georgia. On my screen, I see her, and I'd like all of you to see her. Eklund, okay, I have a question here. You're sitting here as a juror right now. You don't know anything about the case, but you heard you heard Sean Foley say at some point that Jimmy Shelton would have raped you like he did the rest of your life or your previous life, indicating this had been a long-term situation. However, he just moved in with his fiancee, who was Dawn, who's Miranda Goddard's mother, okay? And obviously Miranda Goddard is Sean Foley's girlfriend. But if Jimmy Shelton just moved in with the mom 3 to 4 days ago, how did he molest her his whole life?
Well, it could have just been a long relationship. So we have no idea. And you understand, like, with children, victims of child abuse, victims of child molestation, that's why certain states just all but annihilated the statute of limitations, because when the outcry comes, you don't know when the outcry comes. So even though a predator is not living in the home, that doesn't mean that they don't have access to the child. And so especially if you have a predator, if she has been groomed since a child, if he has been groomed, and I see that she's an exotic dancer now. Unfortunately, child molestation is like a rite of passage for certain exotic dancers and sex workers. It kind of just goes with the story. So as of right now, I'm tend to believe Mr. Foley at this point.
Wow, that's kind of a jury, my correspondence that you'd want. You want Eklund Mercy on your jury because, as you just heard, that one little statement makes her believe that the victim here, the decedent, Jimmy Shelton, was not really a victim because he was a molester. And yet the prosecutor, Mr. Desmond, said that the 20-year-old Miranda Goddard and Jimmy Shelton, who was 44, were negotiating a business deal, a trade of a car for a little sex.
Well, the whole thing is a little bizarre, and I'm sorry I missed the opening of the prosecutor, because I think that's one part of the chain of the story you want to make sure you have the links together in, because I think that's really insightful, because if there was no relationship prior to that, then you can tell, then I think that's a big consciousness of guilt problem, and I think it'll come back to haunt the defendant.
But Katie Smith, again, you've been in the courtroom a lot of times. The defense opened up a very short opening. They said molestation, manipulation, and mischaracterization. That's what the prosecution's story is. And Sean Foley really shot Jimmy Shelton in self-defense as he charged him, thinking that obviously maybe Sean Foley would stop the sex deal.
Listen, it's very possible. I think I really want to hear the tape. I want to hear the tape that Foley made while all this was going down, because I think we're going to get a lot of clues about the timing, who was really the aggressor, and a lot remains to be seen.
As I'm watching you, I see that our judge is talking to everybody in the courtroom. So we are going to take, as she's speaking to everybody, a quick break. Stay with us. We are the Law and Crime Network. The case is Tennessee versus Sean Foley.